He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. He doesn't represent my party. He doesn't represent the values that the men and women who wear the uniform are fighting for. I don't think he has a clue about anything. He's just trying to get his numbers up and get the biggest reaction he can. You know how you make America great again? Tell Donald Trump to go to hell.
Wow. Lindsey Graham has certainly been one of Donald Trump's fiercest critics, but now the senator is reportedly calling on Republicans to support the presumptive nominee. Reports say Graham privately urged donors to unite behind Donald Trump at a fundraiser over the weekend. However, Graham's press secretary says there's been no change in his position, whatever that means. Here now, Governor John Sununu, former White House Chief of Staff to President George H.W. Bush and author of The Quiet Man. It's a pleasure to have you here, Governor. Thanks for being here today.
Happy Monday, Greg. How are you?
I'm fine. You know, this is a guy who really disparaged Donald Trump and said he could not in good conscience ever vote for Trump, and yet these reports that he's urging people to back Trump, what do you make of it?
Look, the reason that Lindsey Graham and other Republicans had a little difficulty with Donald Trump, or a lot of difficulty with Donald Trump as the nominee in the past, was issues. And Lindsey was extremely concerned about national security issues and how to handle ISIS and how to handle our allies and our enemies around the world. From what I've seen in the reports, he's had conversations with Donald Trump, and Trump is talking a much more rational foreign policy set of principles, and I think that's enough to have Lindsey feel a little bit more comfortable with him. Yeah. You're going to see that with a lot of Republicans who were concerned that Trump wasn't conservative enough, but Trump is reaching out to groups like the NRA now, and so you'll get a dribble and drabble of Republicans coming back to this. The Republican Party and the voters of the Republican Party recognize it's important to get a good turnout in order to at least save the Senate and governors and congressmen around the country, and I think you're going to see people talking about voting the Republican ticket from top to bottom.
Governor, let me get your reaction to a couple of polls that are just out. This is the ABC News Washington Post poll, and it shows Donald Trump actually has the lead over Hillary Clinton, 46% to 44%, though within the margin of error. And then let's go to the next one. This one may be even more revealing. People are asked, do you mainly support Trump or oppose Clinton? And look at that. 54% oppose Clinton. They're voting for Trump because they oppose Clinton, not necessarily because they support Donald Trump. Are we presented, or many people presented, with the old principle of the lesser of two evils?
I think there's a lot of voting that will take place in November that will take place on that basis. I think the Democrats really still have an internal squabble that's causing problems, and Mrs. Clinton's position on so many issues just are so bad that Republicans that might have stayed home that didn't like Trump as the nominee and might have stayed home will come out just to vote against Hillary Clinton. So yes, I think that poll is reflective of a lot of what will happen in November. As long as the Republicans get out and vote for the Senate and the governors and the congressmen and the lower ballot candidates, I think Republican Party will do quite well. And if it happens to be enough to bring Trump into the White House, I think the Republicans will at least say, well, then we can save some of the nominees that have to be made to the Supreme Court in the future.
Governor, you're, and I mean this complimentarily, you're regarded as the wise man in the party because you have advised presidents in presidential campaigns. If you were advising the Trump campaign, how would you tell them the best way to beat Hillary Clinton?
Well, you might be confusing wise with old, but the best way to beat Hillary Clinton is to talk about issues that make a difference, first of all, to Republicans, and don't let her forget Benghazi, for example. And secondly, remind Republicans that the next president is going to probably name certainly one and possibly 2 or 3 Supreme Court justices. And number 3, start talking in a coherent way about Republican issues like taxes, like smaller government and foreign policy.
Governor John Sununu, thank you. It's such a pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you. Thanks, Greg. Okay.